August 27, 2025, a day that sent a $60 billion shockwave across the world's fifth largest economy. In Washington, a decision was made. A single policy document citing India's purchase of Russian oil as a threat to national security triggered one of the most aggressive trade actions in modern history, a cumulative 50% tariff on a majority of Indian goods entering the United States. This wasn't just a tax, it was an economic ultimatum, a signal that the rules of global trade had fundamentally changed. The official justification was geopolitical, punishing India for its energy ties with Russia.
Welcome to Cape Capital, your economic superhero, where we decode the hidden economic concepts of our world.
For hundreds of thousands of Indian businesses, the American market, their largest and most lucrative, is now behind a wall of tariffs. The impact will be immediate and deep. Overnight, Indian products became uncompetitive, and behind these numbers are people. This is the story of how that economic shockwave has crashed into their lives, and how a nation can fight back and survive.
This is Tiruppur, the knitwear capital of India. It's a city built on thread and ambition, exporting nearly $5 billion worth of garments a year, supplying global giants like Walmart and Gap. For hundreds of thousands of women here, the hum of the sewing machine is a sound of survival. Anitha is the sole earner for her family. Last year, when heavy rains damaged her home, she had no choice but to take a high-interest loan from a local money lender. Her monthly salary of 12,500 rupees, about $150, was just enough to cover household costs. But now, the orders from America will stop. The new tariffs will mean that a t-shirt from Tiruppur is now over 30% more expensive than one from Bangladesh.
This is a classic case of trade diversion. US buyers will simply shift their purchases to cheaper, lower tariff countries.
For Anitha's factory, it means production cuts. Her shifts will be slashed from 6 days a week to 3. Her income will be cut in half. The tariff doesn't just threaten her job, it will push her family to the brink of poverty. From the fabric of Tamil Nadu to the facets of Gujarat, Surat is where 9 out of every 10 diamonds in the world are cut and polished. It's a trade built on generations of skill.
But this industry was already fragile. The war in Ukraine disrupted the supply of rough diamonds from Russia. The pandemic had crushed demand, and the rise of cheaper lab-grown diamonds was eroding prices.
Bharat had been polishing diamonds for over 2 decades. It's the only work he has ever known. The tariff was the final fatal blow in a series of compounded shocks. The duty on polished diamonds skyrocketed from just 2% to over 50%. His factory, like many others, may get shut down. He may be laid off. The human cost will be significant. Bharat may now need to take odd jobs, earning less than half his former salary, his pride shattered.
For workers like him, the promise of supply chain resilience is a cruel myth. They are the ultimate shock absorbers for every crisis. Whether it's a war in Europe, a pandemic, or a trade policy decision made 8,000 miles away in Washington.
The shockwave travels south to the coastal heartland of India's aquaculture. Andhra Pradesh accounts for 75% of the country's shrimp exports. For years, farmers here perfected a lucrative model, raising high-quality prawns specifically for the American market. India had a clear comparative advantage: ideal climate, skilled labor, and efficient production. But the tariffs will erase that advantage. Indian shrimp will become far more expensive than prawns from Ecuador, which faces only a 15% duty. The result, prices will crash, wiping out profits. This farmer's harvest, once destined for American restaurants, may now sit in cold storage as a result of a collapsed business model. The crisis exposes a critical vulnerability: the export-only trap. These premium Premium shrimp were never meant for the domestic market. Local consumers simply can't afford them. With their single export channel severed, the farmers will have nowhere else to turn.
The story repeats across the country.
In the sprawling chemical hub of Dahej, Gujarat, the tariff shock threatens to derail India's ambition to become a key player in the China Plus One strategy. This region is a powerhouse, producing a vast spectrum of specialty chemicals, from dyes and pigments to agrochemical intermediates for the world. Ramesh is a master mixer at a factory producing pigment Blue 15, a high-quality organic pigment used in everything from textiles to plastics. For 20 years, his skill has ensured that the color is perfect for his company's biggest clients in the US. It's a stable job that allowed him to educate his children and build a small home. But now that stability is gone. The new tariffs will make his company's pigments uncompetitive. Orders will be put on hold and management may talk about production cuts. Ramesh now faces an uncertain future. His decades of expertise rendered irrelevant by a trade policy he can't control. In the auto ancillary clusters of Chennai, the ripple effect is devastating.
This city is a critical node in the global automotive supply chain, exporting billions of dollars in components.
Priya is part of India's new generation of skilled engineers. Her company manufactures precision fasteners for a major American electric vehicle maker. She was proud to be part of the EV revolution, knowing her work was essential for the next generation of American cars. But with the new tariffs, her company's high-tech components are suddenly too expensive. Her US client may put all new orders on hold, threatening the viability of the entire production line. Priya's dream of a career on the cutting edge of automotive technology is now in jeopardy, a casualty of a trade war that hit even the most innovative sectors. And in Kanpur, a city synonymous with leather, the tariff crisis threatens a centuries-old craft. This hub is a leading exporter of leather goods, especially high-quality footwear, belts, and saddlery for Western markets. Salim is a third-generation shoemaker. His family has been crafting leather footwear for export since before India's independence. He takes immense pride in his work, knowing that the shoes he makes are sold in premium stores in the United States. But the 50% tariff has made his craft unaffordable for American buyers. Orders will be cancelled and his small factory may fall silent.
For artisans like Salim, this isn't just a loss of income, it's the potential end of a legacy. The skills passed down through generations are now at risk, not from lack of quality or demand, but from a trade war that has priced their heritage out of the market. Faced with an external shock of this magnitude, a nation has two choices. It can buckle or it can pivot. India must choose to pivot, and its first move should be to turn towards its greatest and most resilient economic asset, its own people. Unlike many export-led economies, India's growth is powered from within. Domestic consumption accounts for over 60% of its GDP, creating a massive internal market that can act as a firewall against global volatility. The government's strategy will be to strengthen this wall. The primary weapon in this strategy is a sweeping reform of the Goods and Services Tax or GST.
To be implemented by 2025 Diwali is to simplify the complex multi-layered tax system into a cleaner two-tier structure. This means lower taxes on a wide range of consumer goods, from cars to insurance to home appliances.
The economic logic is powerful. A cut in a broad-based consumption tax like the GST has a potent multiplier effect, meaning every rupee of tax cut generates more than a rupee of economic activity as it circulates through the economy. This fiscal stimulus will inject money into the hands of Indian consumers, leading to an economic boost. With the domestic fortress secured, India can now be more ambitious. The second part of the strategy, an accelerated diversification of its export markets. The goal should be not just to mitigate tariff impacts in the American market, but to build a more resilient global trade network for the future.
The first major victory was a landmark free trade agreement with the United Kingdom. This deal eliminates tariffs on nearly all Indian goods, including textiles, leather, gems, and auto components, giving Indian exporters a level playing field in a major developed market for the first time in years.
Projections suggest this could double India's jewelry exports and open up nearly $1 billion market for Indian leather goods.
Simultaneously, long-stalled FTA negotiations with the European Union, India's largest trading partner, should be put on the fast track. With over $137 billion in annual trade at stake, a deal with the EU would be a game changer, providing new markets for everything from Indian machinery to pharmaceuticals. Talks are also being revived with Canada and Australia, creating a multi-front diplomatic and commercial push.
But the strategy goes beyond traditional Western markets. India is also deepening its ties with the fast-growing economies of ASEAN. Vietnam and Indonesia, with their booming industrial sectors, are prime markets for Indian chemicals and machinery.
Bilateral trade with Vietnam is already around $15 billion, and there is enormous potential for growth as these nations seek to diversify their own supply chains.
This is a two-speed strategy, a sprint to secure high-value markets in Europe to immediately mitigate the tariff impact, and a marathon to build long-term, high-volume trade relationships with the emerging economic powerhouses of the future. But the most profound response to the tariff crisis isn't just about finding new customers. It's about fundamentally changing what India sells to the world. The shock has become a powerful catalyst, accelerating a long-term plan to transform India from a low-cost assembler into a high-value integrated manufacturing power. The cornerstone of this transformation is the Production-Linked Incentive or PLI scheme.
With a war chest of nearly $25 billion, the government is providing direct financial incentives for companies to manufacture sophisticated goods in India, from semiconductors and electronics to advanced pharmaceuticals. The goal is to move up the value chain, increasing the domestic value addition in products from the current 15 to 18% and capturing a larger share of the profit.
Indian companies are also innovating. Larger auto parts firms are not waiting for government action.
They're exploring setting up plants in Mexico to serve the US market directly.
A 50% tariff was meant to be a punitive blow, a tool of coercion designed to force a nation to bend. The pain for millions of workers and small businesses will be immense. But this crisis will not break the Indian economy. The tariff intended to punish may inadvertently become an accelerator. It will force India to fast-track critical reforms, to aggressively diversify its trade relationships, and to redouble its efforts to become a true global manufacturing power. The story of this trade war will not be one of victimhood. It will be the story of a nation absorbing a powerful blow, looking inward to find its strength and turning a crisis into a catalyst. This is the moment a new, more resilient India is being forged in the fires of global uncertainty. What do you think is the most critical step for India's economic future? Let us know in the comments below. And for more deep dives into the global economy, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.